thank you. Right, I am a writer. I've been writing since I could hold a stick and writing the sand as a child. I've been writing all over everything, everywhere. I am published, HarperCollins, Yorkshire Arts Circus, self-published and small presses, and I have published numerous people in the country, some who will never mention my name, but I know I did it, yeah? I'm also just a nail craft and designer. I have dressed a lot of people in this country again. They might not remember. But I don't worry about things like that because I say about everything I do, I have the original. Yeah, so even if they don't remember that I made their first outfit to go on stage, I know I did it. Yeah, and I don't worry too much. We have a writers group called Cannon Hill Writers, and last night we had a really beautiful experience. We actually have somebody who is descendant from Native Americans. She's a real tough Amazonian woman. She's a psychologist. And she actually came last night. She did a workshop using her drum. And we were really influenced. I mean, I'm the only other black person in the group. And so it was mostly white people that she was using her Native American drumming and everything to and inspiring people to write. And it was absolutely wonderful. So I wrote this one. I wrote more than one actually. I'll read you. I don't know if anyone else writes, but one thing I find with writing, if you always get a nice book, you know, these people say, I'm going to write one of these days. Get yourself a nice book, pretty book, and write in that. You'll find that you're more tempted to write sometimes if you're going to write somewhere nice. I used to run a writers group called Birmingham Creative Writers Circle. I moved to London at a time with my daughter. We're there for about 2 years, and I used to go to a writing group at a Fiwi, Yara Centre, and I was writing with people, and people sort of came in and out, and they're all big names on the telly now. Judith Jacobs and Janet Kay is my friend's sister. So I knew all them, and Romeo Evans, she was going out with at the time, and all those guys I used to run around with while I was in London. And my daughter didn't like London, so I came back here, and I've watched them on stage, I've watched them on television. Right? I used to perform quite a lot. I've written plays. I wrote 2 school plays, and I had the main parts and did all the costumes. And I met my partner while he was basically staring at me on stage and making bets with somebody as to whether he'd go out with me. And then the roles changed because he started off by watching me acting on stage, and then I started going out with him, and I sat in the audience and watched him playing steel band. And then I got a baby, and so that was the end of my performing days. And I didn't really do much until I moved to London. And there's something about the motorway, the M1. Every time I sat on the motorway coming back to Birmingham or going back to London, I just got pencil and paper out and wrote, and I did 400 poems in 2 years. Yeah, I'm sure there's something going on there. And then before that, I was going out with someone else, and after the bailiffs cleared me out because of him, I moved to London and lived in a room. And a lot of my poems are from experience, although I tend to change a lot of them. So this poem that I did yesterday, I'll do the first one, and you can see the difference between the first and the last one. Drumming through my veins, in my blood, harmonizing with the organs in my body, above my head, resonating through my bones, making all the cells leap about, join hands and dance, healing broken, diseased ones, quietly strumming, echoing sound, then silence, expectation, waiting, hoping, longing for all the familiar sound, like a lost love, a memory of long ago. And that was the first one from her drumming. The second one, imagine this woman's walking around, and she's got this drum, and she's tapping over your head, tapping behind you, and whatever, and it was really good. And I booked her for a performance. I booked her for one day. As the drum beats, the tears flow, a cleansing, healing moment. The body remembers that time so long ago when trees grew strong, grass was green, the fish swam in clear streams, the air was fresh, and the sun shone bright. The campfire burned in starry skies in the moonlight. Then the strangers came, with their muskets, pipes, and strange drums. Too much clothes and long white beards. They raped our women, killed our men, rounded up the rest of us in large pig pens, changed our life, caused so much strife, introduced us to new ways of thinking, diseases and alcohol drinking, took our freedom or liberty or heritage or me. But though we were few, we still knew that once the last tree had been felled for furniture and doors, they'd poisoned themselves on the crops they were misusing. They'd grown away from nature, worshipping gold. They'd have to go back to the ways of the gold. And that's basically about the Native Americans, who Columbus and all that went and actually killed. But they didn't kill everybody. You know, people tend to think that all the Arabs and the Caribbeans and everybody were killed. They weren't. There are still people living out there who are pure Arawak with no mix. Right? And there's a song that I wrote some years ago. Like I said earlier, I know where to get money from. Right? I'm very good at getting money from anybody, for anything. I just know how to do it. I've got the knack. And a few years ago, I filled in the National Lottery form for the Millennium Award. And I filled in loads of forms for people. Anybody who had an idea, they wanted some money to do something, I filled in their forms. And one day, I wasn't living in Birmingham at the time. I came to Birmingham, filled out some forms, and rushed off to catch my bus to get back to Willing Hall. And in the process, catching 3 buses, I lost my mobile phone. And when I said to 2 of the guys who had just left, so I was late earlier, that I'd lost my phone, I didn't even get a, oh, sorry to hear. And I thought, hold on, I can't take this, you know. I had just spent hours getting thousands of pounds because I knew they were definitely getting it. And you can't even sympathize because I've lost a phone. So I thought, right, I've got to apply for money to do something for myself. But by then, I'd done like everything I ever wanted to do anyway. And I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to do, anything that I needed money for. So in the end, I thought I'll put one of my poems to music because I'm a musician. I was playing in church when I was 8 years old, and I was teaching typing, and music at 8. Yeah. And so I applied for a Millennium Fund to put my poem to music, which included getting the piano, getting the steel band, paying people, even paying my friend £11 a night whenever I stayed at her house, or getting taxi fare to go back to Willing Hall. So I wrote a song that's known as The Song, or That Song. And it's actually called Tender Loving Care because, you know, I've had times over the years where I've been through some real serious depression, right? And I was having one of those times. I was walking down the road and I found myself marching to the tune of what is it? Glory Hallelujah.
John Brown's Body.
Yeah, John's Brown Body, Glory Hallelujah. But I was actually singing along with it, and I was singing these words that I'd never heard before. So I sort of got home and wrote them all down, and it's known as That Song, and it's usually sung in mental health circles, and a lot of people know all the words. I usually get on stage and say, right, does anybody remember the first line of the first verse? Because I can never remember it. And there's always somebody who knows it. But I decided I was going to give you just 2 verses from it, and they're not the first, it's not the first one. I woke up before dawn and tried to mow the lawn. The neighbors weren't impressed with me and threatened me with harm. I walked along the avenue in in underwear and vest. And what happened to me afterwards is anybody's guess. I get by with with tender, tender loving care. I get by with tender, tender loving care. I get by with tender, tender loving care. I know I will get by. I have some very good friends, as caring as can be. They all have my permission to have an extra key. When I refuse to answer it, they can kick off the door to see if I'm okay, safe and secure. We've got by with tender, tender loving care. We've got by with tender, tender loving care. We've got by with tender, tender loving care. I know we have got by. And people walk up to me in the street